This is a 1972 Chevrolet Chevelle. Once a road king, now a dust-blanketed ghost. It sits like a paused heartbeat, paint dulled and seams eaten by time. A car that used to turn heads now waits for someone to give it breath again. At first glance, it's a complete car, but up close, the seams and floors tell a different story. Today, the team brings it back to the shop, peels it apart, and rebuilds it into a modern, drivably tuned Chevelle. Stick around as we uncover what the team chose to salvage, and the process they go through to get the car fully functional again. Back at the Detroit Muscle Shop, the first wash reveals years of grime and the shape beneath the dirt. The Chevelle's true condition finally shows. The window seals are shot, the carpets are full of holes, and the floors are sponge soft from decades of sitting in water, the kind of damage that makes you want to throw your hands up and start the whole job from scratch. The hood is removed, the small block stairs back, crusted with oil and old gaskets. A quick inventory shows this is a bench seat, column shift Chevelle, not an SS, which makes it a flexible platform. The crew finds the original bill of sale tucked in the glove box, a small proof of provenance that means a lot later. The big question forms: frame-off restoration or surgical patchwork? The team chooses a full strip and rebuilds. And again, that choice sets a path. Body to blaster, frame to powder coat, and new floors in place of rot. They roll the shell in and mount it on stands, like a patient being set on an operating table, except this patient squeaks and sheds rust. This is where controlled demolition begins. Some bits come off easily, others fight back. Frozen trunk locks, crusted bolts, and old spot welds holding onto sheet metals for dear life. Seats, carpets, trim, and glass come out. Everything that hides the body in the metal. They label parts and bag hardware. Every fastener has a place, which saves countless hours during reassembly. Cutters and grinders start the honest work. Slice out the rotten floor sections, sparks, crunchy metal, and the relief of revealing the true skeleton. They clean out inner sills and rocker panels, scribbling measurements and marking out the new pieces that will stitch this car back together. They trial fit auto metal direct replacement floor sections. Clecos hold the panels like little silver fingers holding the future together while the team checks gaps. welds close seams and rosette patterns where factory spot welds used to be. The objective is strength without distortion. Bracing is critical. Cut without reinforcing, and the body can twist. So bracing is set before final removal. And again, this is the ugly, thankless work. Invisible in the glossy afterpicks, but absolutely the reason every door will line up and every gap will stay true. The body goes to the blaster and the frame, to powder coat. Surface truth is revealed under grit. Blasting reveals thin spots, pinholes, and damage that paint had hidden. Now you can plan repairs for real. The frame returns matte black and rock solid, ready to accept modern suspension and big brakes. But then, blasting can flash rust. Immediate cleaning and priming are necessary to lock in long-term protection. With a strong frame, the team installed QA1 tubular arms, Chromalai A-arms and adjustable coilover, modern handling for classic lines. Spindles are replaced, new rotors and 6-piston calipers fit where drum brakes once lived. The rear gets a Curry Enterprises bolt-in housing and 35 spline axles, built to handle near supercar torque. Stainless brake lines are routed and secured with cushion clamps. Everything is measured twice for alignment. Year 1 17-inch Magnums and Sticky Mickeys are chosen for a classic look with modern grip. The chassis now looks purposeful. The Chevelle is set up for both street composure and track confidence. Patch panels go in. New floors, quarters, and fenders are clecoed and tacked so the body reads true. They pause paint prep and talk trim. Hood emblems, grille badges, and side scripts need dry fitting now, so they will sit perfectly once the paint is finished. Before the final paint, every shiny bit that will be bolted, clipped, or screwed to the sheet metal gets a careful dry fit. Door handles, mirrors, trim strips, and the hood emblem are located while there's still room to adjust. They explain the technique for fitting, which is quite methodical. Multiple layers of masking tape protect the panel. A straight datum line is marked. And the emblem is positioned and pressed so the tape shows the exact post locations. With the post marks in place, they drill through the tape using a pilot bit that matches the emblem posts, clear the shavings, and test fit the posts before anything is permanently fastened. Up next, preparing the body for painting. They go on to clean the necessary parts due to the probable presence of oil and contaminants on the surface, which might come back to haunt you. They go on to prep the car parts for some primer by scuffing it lightly with about 500 to 600 grit paper on the big flat surfaces, and follow the curves with a red pad. Next, they pull out a red scuff pad and carefully scuff the spots that the DA couldn't reach, working edges by hand to avoid slipping off a panel. Now we step into the spray booth. They apply the epoxy primer, a thin, even coat to seal bare metal and protect newly welded seams from flash rust. The presenter explains how long to wait for the epoxy to cure before sanding, and also figuring out where the filler would go. Filler is used sparingly, metalwork first, then feathered putty only where necessary. Epoxy primer seals the work. High build surfacer follows for block sanding and final alignment checks. They explain and demonstrate back-taping the door jambs, the technique of sealing, sealer coat, and controlled base application to avoid hard tape lines. They move into sealer and base planning. Sealer lays the visual foundation, and the first thin base coats are a test of uniformity rather than full coverage. Shortly after, the team tweaks gun setup and fluid flow, performs dump tests, and adjusts air pressure to ensure atomization that will deliver an even metallic laydown. They run spray-out cards and test panels, checking color match, metallic orientation, and how the paint lays on the prepared surface. The crew walks through gun technique, explaining trigger control, overlap, and wet flash timing for thin base coats so the metallic reads consistently. The first notes of the final color appear, the mix is confirmed. Cups are prepared. And the team gets ready to lay the bow tie blue base coats in the booth. Thin base coats build color, followed by metallic passes and a multi-stage clear for depth. They bolt panels and work the body as one piece to avoid metallic mismatches. Then apply clears and controlled passes with flash times observed between coats. And again, curing, wet sanding, and polishing follow until reflections read smooth across repaired seams and the panels read as contiguous curves. The body comes out glossy, but the real victory is that the panels now read as contiguous curves rather than patched panels. The Level 10-4 L80E transmission is mated with an SFI flex plate with 8 RP bolts. Heavy-duty hardware for heavy-duty power. Accessory drives. plumbings are run. Fuel lines, heater hoses, coolant, and exhaust headers are carefully routed for heat and serviceability. The harness is dressed, dash fills are secured, and the interior kit from Original Parts Group is staged for installation. Seats are reupholstered and bolted in. The steering wheel, shifter, and finish trim come together to make the car usable and comfortable. But then, the devil is in the details. Shims for door alignment, brake bleed sequences, and wiring checks take time and patience. Hands go still, the battery bites, fuel is primed, and the crew steps back like surgeons before the first incision. The engine catches a short cough, then a deep, powerful idle that settles into a commanding rumble as the engine finds life. The Chevelle then rolls out into daylight, bow tie blue catching the sun, staggered wheels filling the arches, every line singing the payoff of months of invisible labor. A short drive proves the upgrades. Brakes bite true, steering is crisp, and the horsepower package pulls clean and confident, exactly what the build promised. On the test run, the car glides and grins. What started as a rusted heap is now a rolling masterpiece, gliding down the pavement with the poise of something reborn. And again, from metal and patience, a truck that shouldn't have lived now moves like it was always meant to, confident, loud, and utterly alive. Subscribe for more barn finds, deep restorations, and check other videos on our channel.